Okay, welcome everybody. It's 11 o'clock and you are in the session with Portland area youth and their messaging around how to be an ally. We're going to give folks just another minute to join and then we'll start with an introduction and launch into our program. While we wait for folks, I know for young people presenting live, especially about topics related to race and equity, takes a lot of courage, and it would be nice, although certainly not required. We want to respect your level of comfortability as well. It'd be nice to see your faces if you're willing to turn your camera on, but once again, don't feel like you have to. Okay, well, welcome. We have heard that there's over 1,000 people or about 1,000 people at the summit. So we are really excited and honored to be here today. I'm Ayesha and I am a vice principal at Ida B. Wells-Barnett High School here in the city of Portland and Southwest Portland. We were recently Woodrow Wilson High School, and our school went through a renaming process and recently renamed our schools after Ida B. Wells-Barnett, a turn of the century Black woman and civil rights activist. Two of the students that are presenting today were a part of renaming our high school. That's Weiwei and Mia, and they'll introduce themselves in just a minute. My role really is I've coordinated and supported the first No Place for Hate peer facilitation program in the city of Portland with our Ida B. Wells-Barnett High School students. And my role has really been behind the scenes, giving them support and encouragement and lifting up their courageous voices. These young people are so brave and so inspiring, and this is really a manifestation. Their presentation today is a manifestation of 2 years of work they've done to actively be engaged with anti-racist, anti-bias work across the city. So I'm excited that you'll be hearing from them almost the entire session. We do have some pre-recorded videos that they've made, particularly during this era of distance learning. So I just want you to know that I am not a technology expert, so I might need to ask you to be patient with me if we run into a part of the program where I have to transition to a video. However, we've been practicing, so we think we're going to do a really good job. But sometimes you can't predict when there's a technology issue that might come up. So we appreciate your patience with that. And we want you to also go ahead and feel free to ask questions in Whova using the Q&A feature throughout the presentation. We're expecting roughly about 15 minutes at the end where you can ask our students questions, and I'll moderate that and pull questions from the ones that you've offered. Before I turn things over to the students to introduce themselves, would you mind sharing in the chat just like your role in the community? Are you a teacher? Are you a parent? Are you a community organizer? Are you a religious leader? If you could just share in the chat, we'd love to know who's here. And once again, for those of you who just joined us, if you're comfortable having your cameras on, we'd love to see your faces. That helps our students feel more comfortable and at ease, and at the same time do what's comfortable for you. In the meantime, who's in the audience? What's your role in the city? You can share in the chat. Also, you can just say you're a community member or a professor, or maybe you're a student yourself. Can folks share in the chat? Are they able to use the chat feature in Zoom, Jody? There we go.
I think so.
Okay, former employee of Tiger Tarleton Schools, awesome, nice. Educator. Anybody else? Diversity, equity, and inclusion practitioner, wonderful, awesome. Okay. Oh, parents supporting No Place for Hate, Oregon City High School, wonderful. Well, please feel free to reach out to us. If you haven't already, I think I spoke to somebody from Oregon City High School a couple months ago. Thank you, Jody. Thank you for supporting us in this session. All right, I'm going to keep reading who you are, and as we turn things over to our students, I am going to start sharing my screen here. So let me do that. Okay, and there we go. All right, I am going to turn things over right now to Celia.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Celia Connor-Smith. I'm a student here at Ida B. Wells-Barnett High School. My pronouns are she, her, and next year I will be going to Gonzaga University.
Thank you so much, Celia. And audience, I want you to know that Celia and I are working here together, and we have multiple screens. So you might see me looking around and paying attention to our various parts of our presentation. Thank you, Celia. Next is Weiwei.
Hi everyone, my name is Hutchinson. I use he, him pronouns, and I am currently a junior at Ida B. Wells-Barnett High School.
Thank you, Weiwei. Mia?
Hi everybody, my name is Mia Sedory. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a senior at Ida B. Wells-Barnett. Next year, I will be going to Loyola University Chicago studying sociology and educational public policy.
Thank you, Mia. And also Yaniv.
Hi, everybody. My name is Yaniv Horenstein. I'm also a senior at Ida B. Wells-Barnett High School. And after I graduate, I will be attending the University of Oregon to study business.
Thank you, Yaniv. And Yaniv, would you like to go ahead and get our program started?
Absolutely. All right. So first, we just want to talk about what exactly do we, the No Place for Hate peer facilitators, do? To put it plain and simple, we spread the message of reducing hate and bias in our community and in our school by teaching others how to be an ally against injustice. To explain more a little bit about how we do that, let's take a look at what we've done over the last year and a half.
All right, so when we first came all together as peer facilitators, one of our first goals was to get into classrooms and start educating our peers about how they can act as allies within our school community. And so we started off with a 3-day training with members of the Anti-Defamation League, and they taught us things like how we can engage our fellow peers and these hard topics in a school environment. And so we started off last year giving a lesson to every single 9th grade class at our school, which was really great. There's a lot of them. And we decided to start with the 9th graders because we decided that they had the longest time left, and so therefore the most potential to have an impact on our community with these lessons. And so I'll turn it over to Yaniv to talk a little bit more about what those lessons involved.
Right, so Celia nailed it on the head. We went into every 9th grade classroom and did a lesson with them on what it means to be an ally and how you act as an ally. We talked about effective ways to front hate and bias, when you should speak up versus when you should get help. We used in our own training session that Celia talked about. And at the very end of our lesson, we had the freshmen fill out a little statement on a piece of paper about what it means for them to be an ally. You can see an example of that in the picture on the right. We created an entire collage of all the freshmen in their statement, and we put it outside of our gymnasium. And as you can see in the picture on the right, that's just a small example of that collage, as well as you can see behind Celia and Miss Conning, some more that are still hanging up all the way till now.
All right, and so then last year, after we had all of these successful lessons with the ninth graders, we decided that we wanted our presentation to reach a bigger audience. And so we started planning a community-wide event, and the audience for that was just like the parents, students, and teachers, and anyone else in our community who wanted to be involved. But unfortunately, we planned it for March 12th, which was the day that schools shut down last year because of COVID. So we were unable to have it last year, but we were able to create a virtual version, and we had it in February this year.
So last summer's incidents of systemic racism that included the murder of George Floyd, which happened a year ago yesterday, and the police brutality used against the Black Lives Matter protesters, served as an enormous wake-up call for our entire country. So although school wasn't in session, we, the No Place for Hate peer facilitators, came together during the summer and made a call to action statement video about how we must recognize the issues of our society and break the silence that is harming our community. The video was shown to all the students in our school, as well as schools in other districts, and it was praised by members of the Oregon Department of Education. Take a look at the video.
Hi, my name is Maddie Lamone, and I use she, her pronouns. I am not currently a student at Wilson, however, I am an alumni of Wilson. I graduated last year in the class of 2020.
Hey Wilson students, my name is Gia Prado. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a junior.
Hi, I'm Celia. I'm a senior and I use she, her pronouns.
Hey everybody, my name is Weiwei. I'm a junior and I use he, him pronouns.
My name is Lee Holobeck. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a junior at Wilson this year.
Hi everyone, my name is Catalina Montero. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a senior here at Wilson.
Hi everybody, I'm Yaniv Horenstein. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Ruby. I'm a senior, I guess, and I use she, her pronouns.
There is currently a revolution happening among us. Since the murder of George Floyd, there has been a resounding response among the American public to combat the police brutality that is a norm within society. We believe that education is the root of all social progress, and we believe that it starts with you. ADL stands for the Anti-Defamation League. It was founded in New York City in 1913 to combat the anti-Semitism, but then expanded to fighting against all forms of hate. ADL has youth programs such as No Place for Hate, which is a program we are all a part of. We signed up for a 3-day intensive training in December 2019 and were taught how to facilitate lessons on respect, anti-bias, inclusion, diversity, and allyship to our peers. You guys!
All students in the No Place for Hate group are very passionate about racial equity, advocacy, and educating others on why they are all so important. We want our passion to be reflected in our school community, starting with you. Following the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and many other Black, Indigenous people of color, we see systemic racism everywhere, including our school. We want to take necessary changes to end this, starting with education. Our goal is to spread equity within Wilson so that students of color and other minorities are heard out and feel safe.
So first, what is an ally? An ally is someone who helps or stands up for another person who is being bullied or who is the target of bias.
Although the ally is not the person that is the direct target of aggression or hatred, their reaction should be strong and supportive and do whatever they can to help the target.
Aggression can include many different forms of bigotry or bullying. Anything to do with racism, sexism, homophobia, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, xenophobia, ableism, classism, ageism, nationality, or any other form of discrimination must be immediately responded to.
Being an ally means keeping an eye out for all forms of aggression. These forms of aggression don't have to be violent. They can be words, jokes, or posts on social media.
Being an ally means more than just showing your support through words. It means stepping up through actions.
There are some scenarios where it may be dangerous to act as an ally. If you feel you must be an ally in a situation, but there is a danger involved, such as you or the target being harmed, do not involve yourself in the situation. Instead, call someone with more authority, such as a teacher, counselor, campus security guard, vice principal, principal, or any trusted adult, as some incidents may happen outside of school grounds.
As you all know, there is a lot going on in our world with the extent of racism and bigotry happening throughout our country. People of color are dying at the hands of police. Celebrities and professional athletes are posting anti-Semitic comments, and people in leadership roles are refusing to acknowledge the problems that we are facing. It doesn't take much to be an ally. I know that I, as well as many of you, have already acted as allies by going to protests, signing petitions, donating, or spreading awareness through social media. These problems have been here all along, and now, through the use of media and your own voices, people are finally starting to recognize the problems and incite change. It is now more important than ever that everyone should consider themselves an ally.
Allyship can happen both virtually and in person. Here are some things allies do. Number 1, confront the situation. Put an immediate stop to the bullying by making a strong statement. That's discriminatory. Challenging intentions. What makes you say that? Or pointing out consequences. This could seriously impact your future. Number 2, help the target. Show support by getting the target to a safe place, both physically and emotionally. Even if you're not face-to-face, you can still reach out and check in. Offer solutions or help in reporting the situation to a trusted adult.
3. Find other allies. Enlist others to take action with you. There is strength in numbers. 3 or more people saying stop or standing up in appropriate nonviolent ways is more powerful than 1 and might cause a chain reaction of support. 4. Know when to report. Tell an adult if the target is being threatened, is in physical danger, if cyberbullying is going viral, or if students cannot handle the situation on their own. And remember that you can report anonymously if needed. And note, this is important, if the target is not in physical danger, or if students can handle the situation on their own, ask the target permission before reporting. 5. Interrupting the cycle. Stop cruelty in its tracks by refusing to forward, laugh at, like hurtful messages, or to take revenge by responding to bullying with more bullying. Nowadays, that most of our interactions are happening online and through social media, it is more important than ever to interrupt the cycle. For me personally, if I came across a hateful post on social media, I would not only privately message the person who posted it and try to get them to take it down, but also have a conversation with them about why what they posted is unacceptable and hateful.
You know, it can be a lot, especially when your friends are in a difficult situation where they're being socially or emotionally hurt that involves another group or person.
It may be a lot to take in, starting high school online and taking in information on how to best be an ally.
By being a bystander, you're not standing up for your family members or peers. By being an ally, you're helping your friends through difficult situations and improving their chances at feeling supported.
Don't stress, we've been there before.
If you sat there and did nothing, you are contributing to hate and being a bystander, which is not okay.
Feelings of depression, anger, anxiety, self-resentment are all possible when someone goes through a traumatic event like hate, microaggression, or bias alone.
Another great way to address a situation would be to talk to Karen and work to educate her, because you know what she did was wrong and offensive, and you want her to change and understand.
If Sarah called Jennifer a racial slur, would you sit there and do nothing?
Just because school is online right now doesn't mean you can't be an ally. Being an ally is a 24/7 job. Always stand up to hate and bullying in person or online.
To best address the situation is to ask how Jennifer feels and if she would like to talk to a trustworthy adult.
So to recap, how can you be an ally? 1. Address the situation by speaking up and speaking out. 2. Listen and find other allies. 3. Help the target and be a good friend. 4. Know your limits and when to seek adult help.
Wilson doesn't condone hate, racism, sexism, homophobia, or any other types of discrimination. But we want you to know that if you need someone, we're here for you.
Okay, that was a powerful video, as Yaniv shared in the introduction, was showed across the city and at the Oregon Department of Education. And that was also when we were Woodrow Wilson High School. We are now Ida B. Wells-Barnett High School, proudly. I'm going to turn things over to Mia next. Mia?
Hello. So another thing that we did, we had an event on February 3rd, and this was an online event in which we discussed allyship and whatnot. We had Scotty Nash come as our keynote speaker, which was incredible. The whole event is on YouTube if you would like to find it. And we had different sections where we talked about how to be an ally, racial incidents and how to handle them, anti-racist resources, what reparations means now, performative activism, and how to talk to your kids about race and racism. It's an incredible event that we got to do, and we hope to do more events like this in the future. Additionally, we got to do 2 different interviews, one through KBOO and one on Thinking Out Loud. And they are on the February 3rd event and the name change of our school, which happened around at the same time. The 2 things were working together in tandem because while we were doing all this equity work, we discussed a lot with the communities of color at our school, and our students of color really wanted the name change. It was really important to them, their safety and their mental well-being. And it was just a really important step for us as a school, as we're working so hard for equity, that we had a name that reflected these changes we're trying to make. And so if you want to find out more about that, the links are in the slides. And that was a really incredible opportunity to talk about everything we've been doing.
All right, and so now this year rolled around once again, and we have an entirely new batch of freshmen that entered Ida B. Wells Barnett High School. Except this year, for our 9th grade lessons, we had to do it virtually, of course, so over the computer. And so here, as you see, Ms. Conning is sharing our slide deck for the 9th graders. And we, of course, tried to do a lot of the same activities that we did in the year previous. However, again, it was virtual. And that brings us to today. Here we are in the United in Spirit conference, which we are super happy that everybody could attend.
Wei, this is you, bud.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, so why have we done all this? Like, what inspired us? So for our February 3rd community event, all of our amazing facilitators introduced themselves in a video, and they just kind of explained what inspired them to join No Place for Hate.
Hi, I'm Yaniv Horenstein. I'm a senior and my pronouns are he, him. I'm a peer facilitator because as a Jewish student, it pains me to see the level of racial injustice, not only in our country, but in our own communities. And I want to do whatever I can to be a part of the solution.
Hi, I'm Anissa. I'm a junior and I use she, her pronouns. I became a peer facilitator because I think it's so important to have discussions about race and racial bias within our community, and taking action towards changing our community so it can be a more inclusive and safe space for everyone.
My name is Anne. I'm a junior. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a No Place for Hate facilitator because I believe education is a great way to combat racism in our school environment.
Hi, my name is Celia. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm a junior and I became a peer facilitator because I want to be a part of what makes our school racially aware and inclusive, especially for those students who will be coming in the near future who are part of minority groups like me. And I also want to be a part of opening up conversation on topics such as racial identity, ethnic identity, and learning to celebrate them.
Hi everyone, my name is Aslan. I use she, her pronouns, and I am in 11th grade. I identify as a queer Afro-Indigenous woman, and I joined No Place for Hate as a peer facilitator because I really wanted to make our school a safe space for everyone, a space where everyone feels comfortable to learn, especially as a queer person of color.
Hi, my name is Ruby. I'm a senior. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a No Place for Hate peer facilitator because our school has issues, and rather than sit around and do nothing, I thought I'd try and help and fix them.
My name is Bronte. I'm a senior and I use she, her pronouns. I am a peer facilitator because it's important to create a school community where people feel empowered to call out hate.
Hi, I'm Nura and I'm a junior at Wilson this year. I use she, her pronouns and I'm a Black Muslim woman. The reason why I'm a part of No Place for Hate and would like to be a better ally is because I don't want anyone to go through the same religious or racial discrimination that I've had to experience, and I want people to have a better support system that they can depend on.
I'm Celia. I'm a senior and my pronouns are she, her. I want to be a peer facilitator because I think a great way to improve our community is by educating others.
Hi, my name is Mia. I am a senior. I use she, her pronouns, and I identify as Chinese American. I want to be an ally because I want to make the world a better place. I think that we need to fight for racial equity. I think we have so many things that we can do to make a better, more inclusive, more empathetic environment, community, and world for us all to live in.
Good morning, y'all. My name is Catalina Montero. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a senior. I'm a No Place for Hate peer facilitator because it's an opportunity to grow my community while growing myself at the same time.
My name is Manar. I'm a senior and I use she, her pronouns. The reason I'm a No Place for Hate facilitator is because I want to be part of the change in making our school a better place.
My name is Gia. I use she, her pronouns, and the reason why I wanted to be a peer facilitator is because I wanted to start conversations with my classmates and be able to talk about racial inequality, talk about how to be an ally, and know how to stand up towards hate whenever it happened at my school or whenever it happened in my community.
Hi, my name is Lee. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a Korean American junior this year. I chose to become a No Place for Hate peer facilitator so I can work to support marginalized students in my community.
Hi, my name is Hutchinson. I'm a junior at IW Wells-Barnett High School, and I use he, him, his pronouns. I decided to become a peer facilitator because I love to advocate for racial justice, equality, and equity. I want to help and create a safe environment for marginalized students and to also be able to advocate for those who can't.
Hi, I'm Caddison. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a junior. And I joined No Place for Hate because I believe that it is vital that every single individual, regardless of their identity, feels supported and uplifted. And through these discussions and dialogues that we have in No Place for Hate and through the AVL, this goal can be achieved to a certain extent.
Hi, my name is John L. I go by he, him pronouns. I am a junior this year, and I racially identify as a Filipino Asian Pacific Islander. And the reason why I wanted to be a part of No Place for Hate peer facilitating was because I wanted there to be a place where anyone, no matter how they identify, feel comfortable expressing themselves without the thought of being judged or hated on.
Okay, everybody, we've got just a couple more things we want to share, and then we will be opening it up to Q&A for our student panelists. Next, I'm going to turn things over to Mia.
Hello, everybody. In the wake of everything that's been going on this year, I really wanted to create a simple and fast way to teach people about allyship and equity and how to step up as an ally in everyday habits. It can be really daunting to transition from not knowing what's going on into being a full-on activist, and there are definitely smaller implementable steps that you can do. And that's what I wanted to educate about through this video and also through a Google Classroom that I've created with just a plethora of resources, and the more educators that come in, add more and more resources. So here is the video without further ado. Right now, we need allies more than ever. And the first step to being an ally is to educate yourself. But what does that mean? That can be really daunting for a lot of people. Where do you start? How do you do it? What are the end goals? And why is it important? Well, it's important so that you know what's going on before you go out and help. It's important so that you don't rely on your BIPOC friends, BIPOC being Black, Indigenous, and people of color, to educate you. It's not their job to educate you, it's your job, so that you can be a supportive ally who knows what's going on, what historical events and institutionalized systems are causing what's going on, and what you can do to help. But how? I know that the beginning of your allyship journey can be a little scary, so here are my 3 tips on how to educate yourself. Step number 1, know your objectives. The main point of being an ally is being a productive, helpful, and knowledgeable ally who can step in when needed, which means you need to know a couple of things, including what is race? How does it affect you? How does it affect people of color? What are your privileges? And how do those affect your inevitable role in perpetuating racism? You also need to know what's going on. What are the current events going on due to racism? You also need to know why is it going on? What are the causes of these current events and issues? What historical events influence these issues? What systems, whether businesses, hiring processes, education, law enforcement codes, etc., influence these events and issues? And last but not least, you need to know what you can do to help, whether that be right now or in the current future. These are your objectives. Write them down, and by the end of your research, you should be able to answer all of them. Maybe not perfectly, but just try your best. Step number 2 is know how you like to learn. There are so many different resources, whether books, podcasts, YouTube videos, articles, and documentaries, and more. You don't have to use all of them. Find out what you like and customize your learning to that. And tip number 3, set manageable goals. Don't try to do everything all at once and then quit. Take it one step at a time. Set a goal that fits your schedule, whether that means reading 1 book a month, watching 1 movie a week, watching 1 video per day. Do what works for you. For those of you looking for resources, I have made a Google Classroom called Social Justice that you can join, and it has tons of resources on how you can educate yourself to be a better ally. In this Google Classroom, there are lots of lessons that you can either go through yourself or teach to students. There are specific lessons for different curriculums like psychology and biology with a critical race lens. Also included in this Google Classroom is a Google Sheets I've been working on with lists of books, podcasts, with YouTube playlists, movies, PDX, Black-owned businesses, and more that you can go support and use to help educate yourself. I hope you guys are all taking care of yourselves during this time, and I hope that you guys all stay safe and healthy.
Thank you so much, Mia. The resources that Mia put together are pretty incredible. Before we transition over to our student panel, I just wanted to share with the audience that if you're interested at looking at the resources that Mia put together or hearing some of the interviews that our No Place for Hate peer facilitators have been a part of, you can go to our Ida B. Wells High School website, and under student activities, you go to racial equity and social justice, and you will find everything that we've been sharing with you and presenting right here. So just wanted to let you know about that resource. Okay, all right, students, how am I doing with all my technology skills today? Am I doing all right? Okay, okay, so now we are at the part where we can take some questions from our audience. And so I am going to stop presenting here, and let me do that. Let's see. Okay, and what I'll be doing is moderating questions from you. And one more document I need to pull up here. Hold on just a moment. Okay, so Celia, do we have some questions that are coming in? Let's see here. Okay, so please feel free to use the Whova chat function or Q&A function, which is on the left-hand side of your screen in Whova. And here is a question. Okay, and it looks like, Mia, this is a question you're interested in answering. What has been the hardest part of being a peer facilitator? Mia.
I think the hardest part was like getting the courage to present. It's definitely different over digital, but presenting in front of ninth graders, I mean, I give teachers way more credit than I used to. Not that I didn't give them credit, but it can be really daunting, especially taking really complicated topics like race and racism and making it not accessible, but something that feels easier to talk about, especially when you're like 14 and you haven't really discussed it in a community setting. And freshmen also don't know each other super well. So I think adjusting those topics and teaching them to a live audience was the hardest part. But it's been really incredible, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
And the best parts, what are the best parts of being a peer facilitator? Yaniv, or we can go back to, go ahead, Yaniv. Yeah.
For me, the best part, as far as like what we've done in the past, I would have to go with the February 3rd event, because it was so long coming. We had an event planned for March of 2020. Of course, literally the day of, it was canceled because of COVID and schools shutting down. And so then when we got to do it in February of 2021, even though it was virtual, it was really, really amazing. And to see all the support from our community, people that were involved in our high school and people that were just involved in our community in the city. It was really, really great to see. And that to me like stood out the most for like what gave me the best feeling as a peer facilitator and as an advocate for social justice.
Thank you, Yaniv. All right, we have a couple other questions that are coming through. Marta, are you able to put your question in the Q&A function of VUVA? Okay, if you can do that, that would be great. In the meantime, and if you can't, just let me know, and we'd be willing to take your question verbally too. Okay, here's another question, students coming in. You are all so inspiring. You are. It gives us hope for the future. What do you tell adults, particularly your own parents and grandparents, when they say or do something that counters what you advocate about, breaking down racism and anti-Semitism? Oh, this is a good one. Like, how do you talk to your families, your grandparents and your parents when they say something that's not aligned with your anti-racist belief? Go ahead, Mia.
I think it's really difficult sometimes. I'm lucky that my parents are very supportive of everything I do, but I definitely have had some interesting conversations with close relatives. And I think the best strategy, or at least for me, is that making something political or really large and national, sorry for the background noise, something personal and relationship related. Do you know what I mean? So like my family was not happy with what was going on in the Black Lives Matter movement and how it perpetuated itself in Portland particularly, and they saw the news. But I wanted it to be something rather than just discussing the news. I wanted to talk about racial equity and how it affects me and affects our school that we go to. And so breaking it down and being like, listen, this is how it's showing up for me. This is how I see my friends experiencing it. This is my friends are organizing these things. This is what I'm excited about and I'm proud of. Or in the recent increase in hate crimes towards Asian Americans has been an interesting subject for extended family, and making it really personal and just saying like, this is how I feel every day, because they do care about you and they know you more than that they know the statistics or the news. And I think bringing it down to a really personal level can make things more compassionate due to the openness and the vulnerability.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was gonna make a really quick statement that so I too also have very supportive parents who always help me and always guide me the right direction. But I've always had to deal with like letters, emails, just words from other people. And I guess a lot of them is, just to always stay calm, because, if you always go into such a complex issue and go in with an argument and like you're with an aggressive tone, it's always never going to have a good outcome. So always, go in knowing how you feel and know their side of the opinion, because if you don't know where they're coming from, then you can't really try to guide them the right direction. So always know to have something prepared and to always be ready to be uncomfortable, to know that this is going to be an uncomfortable situation. So that's kind of what I would advise.
Wait, like literally said exactly what I was thinking, which is kind of insane. I was just gonna say, just really quick, it's all about making sure that it's hard to have those conversations with close relatives or even close friends for that matter. It's just about staying calm. You can't be aggressive. You can't tense up, even though it will be easy to. You can't become too emotional. It's about listening, and it's about like hearing both sides, if you will, like what Wei was saying, right? Hearing where they're coming from. Otherwise, if you go into it just with a like attacking and with an aggressive tone, you're not going to get anywhere. The way we make progress is by having conversations, and so that would be my key.
Well, and through our training and work together, we've learned and we know that being an ally and interrupting racism, it takes practice. And it's really important to practice and to rehearse, as Weiwei was saying, when you're not in that moment, so that when you're in that moment, you have thought about how to interrupt it and what to say. So that's one thing that we've really talked about as a group. Okay, we have about 9 more minutes and there's a couple more questions coming in. Marta, it looks like your question is, as adults, how can we be helpful as allies to our students? As adults in the community. Go ahead, Mia.
I don't want to keep taking things if like other people want to answer, but
you're good. Go.
Okay, cool. So it really depends on like what your lane is, like your different lanes of activism, right? But I think if we're talking in an educational setting specifically, making sure that the curriculum like represents authentic counter narratives and it represents minority history, and not just minority history of oppression. Like, you know what I mean? You can talk about Black history without just talking about slavery, and you can talk about Asian American history without just talking about the Japanese internment camps. Like, there's so much more to history, and it's not just history, because I know that history and English teachers get a lot of the emphasis on that they need to implement counter narratives, but I think there's so much in STEM as well. Like, there are so many amazing, sorry about my dog in the background. There's so many amazing accomplishments that minorities have done in STEM, and I think highlighting those, making sure that that's being represented. And then if this is conversations that you can start, but addressing like disciplinary systems in the school systems, especially since we have the school to prison pipeline. So figuring out what type of disciplinary systems you're having, is it effective, and how is it, or if it is, disproportionately harming students of color? And if so, like, what are different options? Are there restorative justice practices that have been used in other schools that you think you could implement in your school? But if you're not in an educational sector, I think just really listening to what students have to say and then helping them figure out how to make a change in whatever sector you have, because we may have ideas or whatnot, but it's really difficult for us to understand what type of policies we want to change or how to change the policies, or different ways we can affect it other than just within our school. If you're in marketing, you can help with like something like a name change. We definitely got a lot of help from people designing logos, and there's a lane for everyone, no matter what you do. If you're in computer tech, making sure that websites are accessible for people with disabilities. There's just so many different lanes. So finding your lane and discussing with students and asking how you can help within your lane. I hope that helps.
That's a great response, Mia. Weiwei or Yaniv, the question is, as adults, how can we be helpful as allies to our students? Is there anything you want to add?
I guess just quickly to build trust with your students, because students won't come forward to you and talk about their incidents or what they've seen. So if you come off as like a teacher who doesn't care, a teacher who just could not care less, they're not willing to come for your help. So if you build that trust and say, you know, I'm here for any situation, I will be supportive, I will help you, and you know, fight this injustice, instead of just saying, you know, I can't do anything for you, just go to another adult. Like that's just really breaking the trust between your student, a teacher to student relationship. So that's kind of what I had to say.
Yeah, just something super quick. The first step, which is what you all are doing now, is to just hear what we have to say. Listen to our voices. Nobody knows our experience better than we do. And so, if in a classroom setting, if that means if there's something going on, make sure to address it. And don't beat around the bush. Don't address it like for the general class, like address the issue. And just make sure that you're listening to us and listening to what we have to say, like you all are doing at this very moment.
And I heard, just to continue with what Yaniv just said there at the end, I think as an adult that's working with students, these students today, they did not have to do this. And this wasn't a required part of being a No Place for Hate peer facilitator. They were invited. We have about 25 peer facilitators, and the ones that are presenting to you today are the ones that felt a real calling to show up and be a part of this conference. And I think that that's our role, is that as adults, we want to center their voices. We want to listen to our students, and it's a balance between that and not giving them a huge level of responsibility, right? It's not on their shoulders to always be the ones delivering the messages of anti-racism. And yet when they feel the courage and they feel the calling, it's our role to lift them up and to give them all the supports they need to make it happen. So I found as an adult, there's a balance there to strike between supporting their voice and also not giving it all to them and giving them the daunting task of doing all the work. So maybe that's helpful as well. We are down to 4 more minutes. And is there any final question or even a comment from the audience? And students, if you have a final remark, that's good too. I'll offer that. I think there's 1 or 2 people here, and then Wei, I'll go to you, that if you're interested in a No Place for Hate program, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm Ayesha Conning. I'm the vice principal at Ida B. Wells-Barnett High School. Yes, Riverdale, I'm more than happy to meet with you and bring some of our No Place for Hate peer facilitators to meet with your team of students, as well as Oregon City. I know that y'all are interested as well. So feel free to reach out to me, and we're willing to support you in any way. And then Wei, you had something to say.
No, yeah, exactly. I was just going to mention that if you want to help in your school or students just in general, or you've seen like just a big like addition to like the discrimination in your school, I would suggest to get the ADL to your school, because when we had the training, though it was really emotionally like draining, it was so like opening, and all the students that came with like that did it too, like we just like became really close, and we just because of the activities we've done and the things that we've learned, we kind of did it as a community, and that just made us stronger. So when we presented to the 9th graders, or when we worked together, we flow so well, because we did this together, and we are just super. I don't know what to say, but it's a really amazing experience, and if you have the opportunity to take it to your school, I would definitely do it.
I also just wanted to say, I really just wanted to give everybody a really big thank you for showing up, not only to our breakout room, but to this entire summit, and to all the 1,000 people that registered and hopefully showed up to the summit. I said this in my video, these problems have been here all along. And yet it seems like over the past 2 years, or you can even go 3 or 4 years, they have surfaced to our attention. They've come to the top of our media, and everything that's going on has really gotten very intense and emotional. And the first step that we all need to take is listening to each other. And that's what you guys are doing right now. And so we really appreciate this. Like, I hope you guys all understand how much this means to us, that you guys are willing to take 55 minutes out of your very busy lives and show up and listen to what we have to say. So I just really wanted to say thank you.
Oh, that's such a wonderful way to have closure to our session. Thank you, everybody. I think we're at 11:50, right? Is that right, Jody? 11:50, okay. So I think we're at 11:50, and so we just want to say bye, but yet it's not farewell forever. We're right here in Portland, and you can find us at IW Wells-Barnett High School's website, and we look forward to hearing from some of you perhaps, and have a wonderful conference. I look forward to Eric Ward's keynote, and have a great day, everybody. Bye.